I'm going to take you through another breakdown today. James DeLacy from Sweet Science of Fighting. We're going to look at Anthony Joshua's training for his previous fight over the weekend. Now, someone's just done the courtesy on YouTube of actually putting together a bunch of, looks like clips from Instagram probably. So a lot of the inferences that we're going to make here is basically all on exercise selection, which is not great for judging a strength conditioning routine. But regardless, we'll get some insight into what he's doing, and I'll explain potentially why he might be looking to do something like that, and we'll get into it. So we don't need to worry about the sound. Okay, I'm not going to come in on the boxing, but it's just some power shots. All right, so it looks like we're getting some single leg squats in. Now, holding the plate in front is actually good. If you're going to do like single leg pistol squats on a box like that, holding a light plate in front actually makes it easier than not holding anything at all, because it just acts as a counterbalance. So give that a go if you're going to do some kind of single leg squat, which is a really good option as a squat variation. Hold a plate in front like this, or dumbbells or whatever, and it'll help you get deeper. These are more like quarter squats. That's all good. We've got box jumps. Again, nothing wrong with box jumps. Ideally, you'd step down, not jump off, because it kind of defeats the purpose of the box jump. And tuck jumps. I really do like tuck jumps as well. I use them within the Sweet Science Fighting programs down the description. But tuck jump is almost like a no equipment way of getting your fast ground contact time jumps in. So your box jumps would be your quote unquote long stretch shortening cycle, or your, I guess you could say, your slower jumps. Then your tuck jumps would be more of your fast stretch shortening cycle. So being able to be more and more reactive and bouncing off the ground as quickly as possible. So you can use both in your training to develop, I guess you could say, certain aspects of power development. One with slightly longer time to produce that force, and this one with slightly less time to produce that force. So duck jumps, burpee jumps. I'm not sure why he'd be doing this. So again, this is within, these are just clips, so I don't know where this fits within a program. I will say though that I would never program a burpee for a boxer, let alone most combat athletes. I mean, wrestlers and grapplers are gonna perform sprawls, etc. If they're shadow wrestling, that's a different thing. But burpees and tuck jumps, looks like it's almost like in a little circuit fashion. I guess this must be some kind of extra conditioning. I will say there are far probably better ways to go about it than doing burpees and tuck jumps. Tuck jumps, ideally you do them for pure power development. You're not going to do them for a conditioning stimulus. Burpees just really serve no purpose outside of your general population boot camp. You're just getting on and off the floor, which makes your heart rate go up, but is that what's the adaptation you're trying to drive from this burpee tuck jump circuit? Is it just doing work to do work, or are you looking to develop certain adaptations centrally within the heart, peripherally within the muscles? Are you looking for it transferred to boxing, certain muscles, etc., etc.? These are some of the questions that should be addressed when deciding exercise selection and like entire strength conditioning routine selection. So I must be a little superset circuit. Okay, so then we go into probably another day, different warm-up. So you could say push-up or T rotations. These are good little warm-up exercises, especially if you're a striker, just for general shoulder health, shoulder, you could say, stability and being able to rotate. It's a good one. Skater jumps into really slow tuck jumps into what the hell's up with his obsession with burpees? Let me just play the rest of this and see if there's anything else going on here. It's literally skater jumps, tuck jumps, and burpees. So skater jumps, yes, I love these. There's different ways you can do this as well. You can kind of level them up. This is a really those are not very good skater jumps, but you can do them different ways. You can go, for example, you can just go one jump and stick it. That will be like the first kind of regression you'll go to if you haven't done them, just to get used to them. So you're kind of just jumping out one leg, landing on the other leg. As you get better, you can go back and forth continuous. So there'll be longer ground contacts and it will be a little slower as you're going jumping side to side. You can level it up and you can do almost what I call rebounds. So that would be going out and then getting back as fast as possible. And it wouldn't be continuous. You just be kind of, you wouldn't be jumping as far as you can. You'd be kind of jumping to the point where you can quickly rebound back. Really nice one for strikers who need to be agile or move around the ring, even MMA fighters. And then you can level that up even further. You can do a drop variation. So that's the shock training method, essentially stepping off, say, a 30 plus centimeter box and then stepping to the side and then rebounding back. So the same rebound, but now you're starting from a height. And you can even overspeed that by having a band around you and you're essentially jumping with the band pulling you. So you have a band, say, anchored to something or someone holding it. You jump towards the band sideways and then quickly try to rebound back. And that overspeed will speed up that eccentric. So it's a good exercise that you can do a lot of different variations on. You can progress your way through as you develop athletically and potentially as you go through your fight preparation into more intense jump or plyometric variations further down the line. So he goes from that into his tuck jumps. So his ground contacts are really, really long here, maybe just because he's tired. And then the burpees. So like that whole combination wouldn't be a combination I would put together for the sole reason of, if I'm doing jump plyometric work, it's to develop a specific adaptation of becoming more powerful, use better elastic qualities, develop lower leg stiffness to be able to rebound well, etc. I don't want to do those under fatigue. If I do them under fatigue, literally defeat the entire purpose of doing them. You're not getting any of those adaptations. You're potentially just making it worse. The burpees, again, I've already mentioned. I don't think it's anything worth doing. If you're going to do a conditioning, I mean, I don't know what stage of training he's doing this in, etc. But regardless, I think you have better options for your conditioning. If you're, say, in Anthony Joshua's shoes who's doing a lot of boxing, sure, you might not want to do boxing specific conditioning because you're just already throwing a lot of punches, etc. So doing things outside of that, for example, it could be running, even though running isn't the answer to all conditioning things in boxing. Running could be something that you do. It could be some kind of on the bike, on the rower, etc. All those things, and you can manipulate the intensity and the volume you're doing to elicit whatever the adaptations you're after, depending on the time of year that you're training. As an example, you might be doing long, slow rides, rows, whatever, because you're far away from a fight. You're just looking to develop the aerobic base. You're looking at pushing central or heart adaptations, plus you're still getting some peripheral adaptations from those. And then you might be doing some like long, high intensity intervals, for example, up to 8 minutes of intervals, relatively high, I would say moderate intensity with shortish rests. And then you're going to progress your way into short intervals that are more intense, etc. So those are things that you can do. And the type of exercise that you choose, or the machine that you choose, as an example, in these cardio equipment examples, is just the mode that you can decide on based on what you need, what you have available to you, etc. I just wouldn't do high intensity conditioning work with running. That would just be one thing that I would typically avoid, because injuries are, I guess, far more likely when you're doing sprints, especially as someone who is not a running based athlete. Doing that kind of work is not going to work in your favor, and you'll be damn sore if you start doing it and you haven't done it before. So just bear that in mind. But stay tuned for the next breakdown.